Welcome to Sex Ed with DB. I'm your host, Danielle Bezalel. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the podcast. If you love and support the work that we do, join my crew on Patreon to win amazing prizes like our adorable merch, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, private sessions with yours truly, and incredible sex toys. Go to patreon.com/sexedwithdb to join my crew. Get discounts at all of my favorite brands at sexedwithdb.com. And follow us on Instagram at sexedwithdbpodcast and on TikTok at sexedwithdb. If you want to partner with us, email us at sexedwithdb@gmail.com. Hello, friends. I hope you all are doing phenomenally, but let's just cut right to it because I have a lot to say with this question, which is, what is ethical porn? A second part to that is, why does it matter? Something very interesting that a little context to this cue before we hop right in is that I recently did a collab with Pop Sugar Wellness, which is a really awesome online publication, if you will. And we do these monthly collab videos where I create the content and they pay me for that service. And then it ends up on both of our profiles. And so the video that I created for the month of December was, what is ethical porn? And essentially was kind of defining what ethical porn is, me sharing like a couple insights as to what I recommend when it comes to some ethical porn websites. And this video went absolutely bonkers viral. It has like 200,000 views on Instagram Reels and about 500,000 plus views on TikTok, and it's still climbing. And I've gotten like 5,000 new TikTok followers because of it, I believe. And so today we're going to be talking about it. And we're also going to be talking about some of the really wild comments that I've been receiving. And it's just so interesting because porn is such a divisive topic. Some people think, oh, porn just ruins all kinds of relationships, and porn is addictive, and porn is detrimental to women. And I just want to say that, like, this is not a black and white issue. There is a lot of gray area in this conversation. So if you're someone coming into this bonus episode thinking some of those things that I just said, or a different thing that I didn't say, but you feel really, really set in your ways about pornography, I just recommend that you kind of like open your mind a little bit. It's very possible that you leave this bonus episode thinking, okay, I don't think anything differently, or I'm more so in my thoughts and feelings that I had before. I'm more like that now than ever, or than after this episode. And that's fine. Not, requesting that you change your behaviors or your attitudes. This is just a little piece of information based on my expertise and based on me knowing sex workers and me knowing people who create this content and the people who are the CEOs of these companies who create this content. And so that's the only thing I want to say before we get started. But let me get into it and really define what ethical porn is and share like 3 ethical porn sites that I recommend. And then we'll kind of go into what kinds of comments that I've been experiencing. And again, they're interesting. Like there are amazing positive comments, like thanking me for the information or sharing ethical porn sites that people watch that they really like. And so it's really been an amazing opportunity to chat. There's over 2,000 roughly comments on TikTok. And so it's been very cool to be able to see that. Okay, let's get into it. So what is ethical porn? Okay, so ethical porn is adult content that is consensual and transparent, created in an environment that emphasizes safety and respect, and does not contribute to wider social inequalities via troublesome post-production marketing or production practices. And this definition comes from ethical.porn, if you're interested in learning more. What else doesn't it do? It doesn't fetishize people in terms of tokenizing them or only talking about them because of one particular part of their body or their race. things of that nature. It is more inclusive, it is diverse, and features different kinds of bodies and people. And so, what does this really mean? A lot of the comments will just say generally, we're kind of like, why can't porn fetishize? Like, isn't that the point? And fetishize in this example of fetishizing doesn't necessarily mean, oh, you're not allowed to have fetishes. That's not the context of this point. Doesn't fetishize in this case refers to the idea that there aren't folks being negatively tokenized, right? Like conscientious BDSM and kink is different and intentional and part of porn sometimes, and that's perfectly great. But that's what I mean by doesn't fetishize. So that's really important to get out there. Also, another thing that people are commenting just by, wanting to access this ethical porn and saying, where can I find free versions of this? And it's really critical that people understand that in order for porn to fall under the category of quote unquote ethical, you need to be paying for it because production companies need to be paying their performers a living wage and they need to be paid for their entertainment. And so free porn doesn't make any sense if you think about it. If people are being exploited and they're not being paid properly or they're not being paid for their work, then that is not ethical. And so that's a really important point as well. And let's get into some alternative porn sites that I recommend that you check out. So number one is a site called Crash Pad Series. It honestly depicts female and queer sexuality, features real life couples of all identities, sexualities, and body types. Highly recommend checking them out. The second one is Make Love Not Porn. They feature quote unquote make love not porn stars who are just regular normal people recording their sex and creating videos of what real life sex looks like. Make Love Not Porn is interesting because their motto is pro porn, pro sex, pro knowing the difference. And I think that's a really critical piece of thinking about, okay, like we're down for porn, we're down for real life sex. Sometimes porn shows unrealistic versions of real life sex. And as long as we're taught that and we understand that, then that's perfectly okay. As long as it's not exploiting people, as long as it's not, sharing harmful messaging. So I think that's really critical. And the third spot that I recommend that you check out is Dipsea. So Dipsea, Dipsea, is a female-founded platform bringing you short and sexy audio stories designed to get you in the mood. And their stories include BIPOC voices, LGBTQ stories, BDSM, consent, the clitoris, conversations around condoms, and a lot more. And so if you like audio porn, if that's something that you're interested in, I highly recommend checking them out. I'm just going to name a couple other sites that folks were really excited about in the comments section. Oh, just a little correction. There's over 1,000 comments right now. Not yet at 2,000, but we're at 1,180. So Quinn, Quinn, was a spot that people recommended checking out. They're a female-founded spicy audio company. There's also Belessa that people are really interested in. Ersties, Ersties. A lot of people said that they get their stuff from Twitter or Reddit. A lot of people said that they read their porn also, which I thought was really wonderful and kind of brings in this idea of, okay, well, if a writer is writing this and they're making money from the porn, is that ethical? It's like, yeah, was it made in a respectful environment? Is the writer getting paid? Is the writer exploiting anybody? There are all these other questions that come along with it, but definitely a safer bet to read your porn than to watch it when it comes to ethics. And so some of the other questions that we got in here is kind of like, okay, well, if I have to make an account to watch it, that's not happening. Or if I have to pay, that's not happening. And it's like, that's totally fair. I mean, some people like their privacy and their anonymity. I do want to, share. You can make a dummy account. You can make a fake Gmail and you don't have to have your name attached to that at all if that's something that you're worried about. A lot of people also just like came into the comments just being like, porn is wrong. Porn is unethical inherently. And there are so many sex workers out there who would disagree with that. I think like people's livelihoods depend on them being adult content creators. And like, especially for folks who are on OnlyFans or Patreon or some of these sites that they get to control the way in which their content is published, purchased, their price points, the kind of content they're putting out there. Why wouldn't we see that as an amazing opportunity to support people for entertainment? It's the same exact thing as you watching a movie or you watching a TV show. Like, these are entertainers. They are providing a service, and that service is giving you some sort of pleasure or excitement. And so I do just want to challenge folks who think porn is unethical, porn is bad. Then you don't have to watch it. I mean, it's kind of just like this thing of this hard to watch situation where people are commenting things like, this is horrible and sex work is sex trafficking. And it's like, there's actually a difference. And it's really important that we don't conflate sex trafficking, which is very bad, should be eliminated, we need to fight against, and consensual sex work, where people are choosing to go into that profession. Fun fact, sex work is the oldest profession ever, thousands and thousands of years old. People have been paying for sex for a very long time. And so I'll close by just saying, if this isn't something that you're interested in, instead of being one of those haters on my videos who say, nope, or I hate this, or all porn is ethical, or no thanks, you suck, like, just move it on along. I really don't need like the hate comments. Luckily, like, people aren't really bullying me, knock on wood, but like, I could totally see how people who get comments like that can feel really shitty about themselves and feel really disheartened. But looking at all the wonderful comments from everyone, and all the supportiveness and all the thank yous, it really, really makes me happy. So, if this isn't your thing, move on along. Maybe you can share it with someone who might be interested. If you're someone who says, well, no, my porn isn't ethical, but I won't switch, like, really reflect on, like, why won't you switch? Like, what is really, challenging for you to switch? And, maybe that's all I ask of you, is just to reflect on those questions rather than making any changes. Is like, why isn't the well-being of other people, aka the performers you're watching, important to you if you know for sure that the porn that you're watching is unethical? And a lot of questions that I got also, sorry, I said to close, but clearly I have a lot of thoughts on this. A lot of questions I got also was like, how do we know if our porn is ethical? And that I don't necessarily know, right? I think like Pornhub, which is one of the most popular porn sites in the world, we can't be sure, like, if the porn that's created on Pornhub is ethical, if folks are being paid, if we consider the categories that are there ethical. I think that there's, again, a gray area there. Maybe some of it is and some of it is not. But that's why I'm recommending that you make a switch to a site where the content that you're consuming is 100% ethical and the people are respected and paid fairly and treated fairly. With that, I will legitimately close now. Thank you all for listening. If this is interesting to you, or if you find this content fascinating, keep tuning in. We'll keep doing more conversations around porn since so many people are so interested in it. And have a great weekend. Love ya. Bye. Our creator, host, and executive producer is me, Danielle Bezalel, aka DB. Our co-producer and communications lead is Cathren Cohen. Our co-producer is Brian Peoples. Our social media intern is Sarah Kelly. Our music theme is by Hook Sounds. Thank you so much to our featured guests, partners, and our listeners. Want to advertise with us? Email us at sexedwithdb@gmail.com. For more sex ed content, follow us on IG at sexedwithdbpodcast and on TikTok at sexedwithdb. See you next time.